The life journey of Branden Albert is living proof that hard work pays off, but not always in the ways or time frames that one expects.
Branden has gone from a relatively unknown high school player to becoming one of the premier offensive linemen in the National Football League.
Meeting with tragedy and challenges on his quest to find a career in the NFL, Branden's been embraced by 4 communities that have molded his values, fine-tuned his goals,
trying to be the best,
and given him a perspective on life that pays tribute to loved ones who made the ultimate sacrifice for him.
Well, that was tough because he was the baby boy of the family.
This is the story of All-Pro offensive tackle, Branden Albert. In 1966, an NFL franchise came to Florida, and the Miami Dolphins were born. They tell an epic story.
The Dolphins have won Super Bowl VII.
Filled with history and tradition. Every season, new chapters are created, and with each chapter comes new stories. These are the stories of the men who became Miami Dolphins and their lives off the field. This is Under the Helmet.
what's going on. Going to my all-season workout today at Legacy Fit. As you can see, no days off. Shout out to Amanda Son, my trainer, best trainer around. And why don't you come join us, get your work in today.
In order to understand where Branden Albert began, it may be more appropriate to start off where he is now, as one of the Miami Dolphins' biggest free agent lineman signings in recent history. Because it was this work, done away from the spotlight, that changed Branden's persona and crafted a knowledge of himself and the work required to get to his goals.
Branden Albert came to me 3 years ago. He was pretty heavy and just wanted a resurgence in his career. Just get back to working hard.
Try to help the Dolphins win.
So to understand Branden now, it is important to look back to where it all began.
I literally thought we was rich. I thought that we didn't have no problem. I thought that was just natural until you start learning from other people. Like, that's not, that's not a common way of growing up.
Rochester basically had a lot of companies, a lot of bait, Wall Shalom, Xerox, Kodak. And mind you, these companies were around for a while and provided the city with economics and with jobs. So when the technology changed and the digital cameras and stuff was being manufactured, people lost their jobs.
My mother was the ideal blue-collar worker. And sometimes we did have rough patches. Or, sometimes it'll be, you lose your electricity. Or you had to eat, a tuna fish sandwich, 3 nights in a row.
When they hear like Rochester, New York, they think about, farms and stuff like that. Where I'm from, there's not many farms, well, in the outskirts, but in the city of Rochester, a lot of crime. I think we used to, for some years, we was leading for small cities per capita on one of the worst in crime. I was a mama's boy. I grew up in rough times, but I wasn't a rough kid.
My mother tried to keep him away from the public schools, which at that time was turning, pretty rough, where there was a lot of gang violence, a lot of, all the inner city stuff that you always hear about with city schools going on with the school.
My brother's one of the most genuine people that you will ever meet, and he made sure I made my own way. He always told me to be a man. He said, "You're a man." When I was 12, 10, 11 years old, he said, "Start thinking like a man. You don't depend on your mother, be a man."
Although Ashley supported Branden, their age difference and expectations were opposite when it came to sports. Football came easily to Ashley, a high school star and scholarship recipient to the University of Maryland. But for Branden, the overweight and underconfident kid, it did not.
I remember when he was playing Pop Warner football, playing for the Rochester Rams, a youth league back home that I played for growing up, and then he transitioned, played for 11 years. I was hoping that he had the same success you know, kind of like what I did, you know, when I played for him. And I remember the day that they called me and he was wearing dress socks. Everybody else had on the nice, back then it was like the Emmitt Smith cleats. And his coach walked up to him, was like, they started joking him about his socks and laughing at him. And right there, they broke his spirit.
Like I said, I was a mama boy, the roughness of the sport, probably. You know, just, you know, I'm one of, you know, I always been labeled as a finesse blocker, or he's a basketball player. You know, he played football, he's a basketball player. And, you know, I guess what they're saying is that, you know, I'm more of a dance around guy than I'm gonna hit you in your mouth.
We was at the YMCA, and my mother was like, yeah, let's go check out Branden playing basketball. I was like, fat boy don't know how to play no basketball. My mother was like, nah, you need to come see him.
When he used to come home from college, he used to go to my YMCA games, and I used to hear him yelling at me more than I hear my coach.
I'm like, all right. So we go, all of a sudden I see a big kid dribbling, you know, down court and handling the ball like a point guard. And I'm walking up to the game. I'm like, Dad, that's a big athletic kid. Lo and behold, it was Branden. And I'm sitting there like, oh my goodness, man, the guy, you know, he can play basketball.
That tough brotherly love would play an important role in Branden's next steps. Because success with schoolwork didn't come easily, and basketball or football was still to be decided.